What's up, everyone? My name's Matt. I've been snowboarding for over 20 years now. I've been working professionally in the motorcycle industry for 4.5 years. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about ski and snowboard helmets. First things first, what makes a good helmet? And why do I think that this particular Giro Spherical MIPS is just an awesome choice, especially for somebody with a long oval head? Well, first let's talk about what a helmet does. Helmets serve two primary functions, right? They spread the impact out over a surface area, hence the hard shell, and they slow it down, hence the impact liner. So really, one of the best things is going to be a really well-fitting helmet to maximize the surface area that impact can spread across. And just for kind of an oversimplified explanation, let's just say, for example, you have 1 square inch and you push down on top of that square inch about 20 pounds. And it feels like 20 pounds because it's only on that one little square. Well, if you take that same 20 pounds and you put it over 4 square inches, so a 2x2, and you put that same 20 pounds down in the middle of that surface area, it feels more like 5 pounds spread out over 4 square inches, like each individual one. So what does that mean? It means it's going to feel like a fourth of the impact if that was your body, right? This is very oversimplified because not everything's just a flat surface like that, and we get into vectors and round shapes and things like that. But all you need to know is that more surface area generally equals less of an impact that you're going to be enduring. So filling in the helmet with your head is one of the most important things. And I've noticed that Anti-Ordinary is testing really high on the anvil test. And my theory to that is because that helmet is basically a hybrid of soft and hard materials that flex the shape to your head as perfectly as possible. So of course it's going to test well on an anvil because it's going to take the shape of the anvil. But testing's limited too, because if you put a round head inside of a long oval shaped helmet or a long oval head inside of a round helmet, you're not maximizing surface area. So if you use the same anvil across all helmets, you're going to get drastically different results. Fitment, probably most important thing. And then helmets also serve third function, it's kind of secondary, which is spreading out impacts over time. So what do I mean by that? Deflection, right? If you hit a tree branch and the helmet is made of a soft or grippy material, right, that's going to take the helmet and go like that. But being made of a hard plastic or some kind of, in this case, this motorcycle helmet's fiberglass resin mixed, that is going to deflect better. You're more likely to hit off things and keep your momentum going should you impact some kind of object. Same with a rock. Right? If you fell on a hidden rock of some kind, hopefully it slides off to the side so that you're not actually taking the full force of that rock. You're kind of just being shifted over a little bit. So deflection, buying yourself time. So spreading impact out, slowing it down with the liner, but also buying yourself time so that hopefully your head isn't the thing that stops your entire momentum of your whole body. This helmet, I know it's from the motorcycle industry, but this is a brand that always tests particularly well in the rotational force impacts from what I've seen. And they don't have any internal mitigation for that. They don't have MIPS. They don't use any type of shock absorbing system like this helmet here, which I'm going to talk about in a moment from the bicycle world. What they do is they maintain a round shell all the way around the helmet, and then they make everything sticking off the helmet breakaway. So if you slide, it all just breaks off. Keep your momentum going, and hopefully doesn't catch on anything and stop the momentum using your head or your neck. Again, surface area, fitment, impact liner, slows it down. Third function is going to be to buy yourself time. So I would bet that Anti-Ordinary, not to pick on them, I think they're doing great things, but that having a beanie type surface on top is not going to deflect off objects quite as well. And it's also not going to help with things that might penetrate the helmet as well, like hitting a sharp tree branch, right? Because you're blending soft materials. So for park riding where you take an impact on jumps, on flat surfaces, ice, or some kind of hard pack, that's probably a really good helmet, But for tree riding or general purpose, I probably go with this. But the thing is, in order for this to be effective, it has to fit your head really well. And everybody's got a slightly different head shape. I've fit hundreds and hundreds, probably over 1,000, maybe even a couple thousand people with motorcycle helmets at this point. And I can tell you that in the mid-Atlantic region, and most people on the East Coast have long oval heads. It's kind of hard to know your head shape by just looking in the mirror because you only have this little window and it's hard to like see. But most people, where I live at least, have long oval heads. So it's not this like rare thing. A lot of people hear long oval and they think it's extreme, or they hear round oval, but it's not that uncommon. So why do I think this is a great helmet? Let's get back to the point here. Well, one, because the MIPS tends to round out the inside of helmets. And I'm gonna put an image right here to show you that it ends up in this scenario if you have a long oval head, which we can see does not maximize surface area that you can spread an impact across. Mostly gonna isolate it in the forehead and the back of the head. And if it does hit the side of the head, it's probably gonna direct force to those 2 points where it's contacting, or the flex could fill the gap and cause kind of like a secondary impact scenario. So MIPS, I have mixed views on it because it's hard to find a helmet that hasn't been rounded out. Even some of the long oval shapes that people claim to be long oval, I found there's gaps when I try them on. So what I do is I bought this ProTech helmets. I know they fit me fairly well. And then I got the footprint insole helmet inserts, which are non-Newtonian, so they absorb impacts as well. But basically it means filling in the helmet so that it has full contact around my head, so that it's snug. You'll notice this doesn't have a dial on it. I don't care about the dial because the dial just keeps the helmet on your head, but really the fitment should be keeping the helmet on your head. Really the helmet should just be snug without a dial. It should be staying on your head regardless of if that dial is there. And the way you get that is having full surface area contact around the helmet. This helmet is kind of brilliant. And the reason I say this is because, look, it doesn't have any protrusion sticking off. I also don't like seeing brims on helmets. I know they look kind of cool, but if you're to face plant, that is something that could catch in the snow and potentially stop a lot of your momentum using your head, which we're trying to avoid. This does have MIPS though, and one of the reasons I like this so much, especially for long oval head shapes, is because they've separated out EPS liners. So typically MIPS just has that plate in there, so you're going to be hitting your head against the plate, and they probably rounded out the inside of the helmet so that it's not going to contour very well to a long oval shape, or even intermediate in most cases. A lot of MIPS helmets I've seen, at least in the motorcycle industry, quite a few in the bicycle industry, have missed the mark on head shape. This is an exception to that because what they've done is they've allowed for that roundness to stay there, but they filled it in with an EPS liner. So instead of getting that scenario where we have the gaps on the side, basically what they've done is filled it in with EPS liner. So on the outside, you're kind of keeping that rounder shape that allows that slip, but they're filling it in with an EPS liner. And you can tell by my horrible sketch that I made on my phone that it almost creates like these little crescent shapes on the side of the helmet, so that it fills it in, but it's still cupped enough where you can shift between the primary impact liner. Basically, it's filled it in, it still rotates, and it's not compromising surface area. I think that's brilliant. And you can see there's nothing that can really catch on this helmet. One thing I don't like about my current snowboard helmet is that it does have these on the back that stick out and they're kind of fixed in place. So that concerns me a little bit. It's pretty low profile. It probably won't be an issue. Plus I got the Shrek sticker back there for extra style points to help me stay safe. But this one also has a more flexible goggle strap, so I like seeing that because if you hit this in a wreck, this is first of all a little bit more surface area, but also flexing like that, you're probably just going to break it free if you hit it hard enough. It's probably not going to stay fixed in place and torque your neck. So I think this is a brilliant helmet. This will probably be my next helmet when this one ages out, because I got this for my wife and then I looked at the helmet and I was like, this is a brilliant design. In the snow sports, Spherical MIPS is definitely looking good in my mind. Again, I don't really measure how well a helmet's going to do by an anvil because my head's not the shape of an anvil, your head's probably not the shape of an anvil, and surface area dictates a lot of how well a helmet can take a hit. Other industries, like this bicycle helmet, for example, doesn't have MIPS, but it kind of has these like shock absorbing posts in there they call smart shock. And what that does is it still allows that shift, that flex while absorbing a little bit more impact without having to use the slip plate that they have to round out the helmet for. So again, I'm not against anti-rotational technology. No, I think it's on the right track. I think it's a decent thing to have, but a round shell helmet is going to prevent a lot of those forces from getting in the helmet in the first place. And chasing MIPS or some kind of anti-rotational technology, I don't think is worth the compromise of reducing the surface area that your helmet can spread that impact across. So yeah, I hope this helps when you go to pick out your next helmet. Hopefully it helps you look for different things you might have not thought about before. Again, find one that really fits your head. Fill it in if you have to. If you are going to fill it in, like this was pretty close to my fit already. This is really just like refining it. This wasn't like a loose fitting helmet to begin with. I took some of the stock foam out and I just filled it in a little bit more because I'm just refining it. You don't want a loose helmet either, because this can result in secondary impacts and again, isolating force into one spot, which we don't want. So yeah, just some things to think about. Make sure your head's filling that helmet. Buy from a reputable brand. Take the test lightly because your head's probably not the shape of an anvil, and also consider that third variable, which is the helmet deflecting forces, to buy you more time. So hopefully something else can slow your body down rather than your head. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. Also, if you have any questions or concerns, please leave them in the comments. Again, best thing to do is still to go try on helmets, see what fits your head. As always, my name is Matt. This is Send Theory. Stay safe out there. Till next time.